everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca and I'm so glad to have you here today. Today we are going to be talking about my pottery and the homes that my plants live in. I get a lot of questions about certain pieces of pottery, so I figured it would be helpful to just make a video about it in general to help you guys through the process of where I get my pottery, what I look for in pottery, and just some of my favorite pieces. The first thing that I look for, and this is something that I want to say at the beginning of the video because I know that you guys do not watch all the way through. Most people do, I would say, but not everybody. So for those of you who click out, listen to this. Okay, so when I'm choosing a pot, I always choose the pot based off of the size of the plant's root system. It is a huge misconception, or I guess just like beginner's mistake, that you would pick out a pot based off of the size of the leaves or how tall the plant is, when really it only matters how big the root system is. And the reason for that is when you have a lot of soil in a pot, it will stay wet for a lot longer. And if you have an unbalance of roots to soil ratio, you will most certainly run into issues regarding root rot and lots of things like that, like the plant just staying too wet for too long, which will cause root rot. So first let's talk about the 3 different kinds of pottery that are in my home. Okay, so first we have Terra Cotta. And as you can see, I have lots of Terra Cotta behind me. All of these plants hanging up are in Terra Cotta. Let me just grab this one so that I can show you a close-up. So this is a Terra Cotta pot, and Terra Cotta pots are characterized by getting these white spots on them. It is called patina, and it is absolutely normal. It's not a bad thing at all. Terra Cotta is actually a porous clay. The phrase actually means baked earth in Italian, so just a little trivia. Terra Cotta often comes from either Mexico or Italy, and they do differ a little bit on the way that they look and the color, but usually they will come in an orangey color like this, or a lighter orangey color. Let me see if I have one that is the lighter color. So this is an example of a lighter Terra Cotta color. So I don't know which is which. I've tried to do my research on which color comes from which country, but in general, Terra Cotta usually comes from Mexico or Italy. Terra Cotta is most generally the most affordable type of pot besides like plastic nursery pots if you were to go that route. But yeah, Terra Cotta is just a really great option if you're looking for a budget-friendly and beautiful option. I would say that about 70% of my plants are in Terra Cotta, and I love it. It makes a beautiful aesthetic. And yeah, I mean, there's really nothing negative I can say about Terra Cotta besides if you do have, moisture-loving plants like calathea or ferns or just basically Marantisia in general, I wouldn't suggest putting in Terra Cotta because the Terra Cotta does have a tendency to dry out a lot faster. And so I have a lot of Monstera, philodendron, cactus in Terra Cotta, and they really like it. Now there is another like subsection within Terra Cotta, and that is just like clay pots in general. And so this is an example of a clay pot. However, this clay pot is partially glazed. So when a pot is glazed, it kind of takes on more characteristics of a ceramic pot, which is basically just like either porcelain or glass or just glazed clay like this is what I would consider a ceramic pot. So this one, you can see clearly the white part is glazed, and so that will just lock in moisture a little bit more than if it was like fully unfinished and unglazed. So that is something also to note. These are some of my favorite types of pots. I love clay pots where you can see a partial glaze. I think it's very striking and beautiful, and I just love like the modeling of colors. There's like dots and all of that kind of stuff. So this pot is from Terra Vita, and I have shown these in a previous video. I have also, let me get this one. This pot is also from Terra Vita, and I have another one around here somewhere. I don't think it's, oh, I see it. I'll get it for you. This is the 3rd pot from Terra Vita that I have, and I just ordered another one. I'm really excited about it. So anyway, this is another variation of like a Terra Cotta ceramic-esque pot. And I think that these are great. They're very beautiful. You can find a lot of really beautiful like small businesses that sell this kind of thing. And I will be linking all of these places down below, like where I buy pottery. I will have a big list in the description box so that this video can be a bit more of a resource for you. Now, as far as ceramic goes, I don't believe that I have any ceramic pots in my collection. And that is mostly just because I'm not super drawn to them. Like, I mean, like fully ceramic something like this. Okay, so this is a little bit unique because this is actually a mug, and this was sent to me by a subscriber. You can see that it's a sugar skull, and what they did was they drilled they drilled a hole in the bottom. So I put a little Dischidia in here, and it's very cute. What I was saying, this is probably the only ceramic piece of pottery in my collection because I'm just usually not drawn to them. They tend to be colorful and have a lot of different, varieties of patterns and things like that. And I like for things to remain a little bit monochrome so that things can match effortlessly, because I do have a lot of plants and I tend to move them around quite a bit. So I like when things match and look good with everybody. Ceramic pots are really great for, like I said, calathea, ferns, just Maritiaceae in general do really well in ceramic pots. And that really does come down to the fact that they hold moisture quite a bit. So it's a little bit easier. You don't have to water them as much. There isn't that moisture wicking ability like in a terracotta pot. The next kind of pot that I want to discuss is plastic pots. And this is an example of a plastic pot. If I have a plastic pot in my home, it is either the nursery pot that the plant came in. So I would say plastic is like definitely the most common type of pot that plants come in. I mean, they're always sold in plastic pots, like nursery pots. Nursery pots have like a ton of holes at the bottom to allow for ample drainage. So for plants that I know need a little bit more moisture, I will opt for a plastic terracotta lookalike pot, just because this color will match pretty seamlessly with everything else in the house and it won't look that different. It won't look out of place. But another type of plastic pot that I am buying much more recently is this pot right here. It is technically an orchid pot, and it is a clear pot where you can see everything that's going on in there. I really should have grabbed a plant that has like some roots growing on the side. Let me see if I can go get that. Definitely one of my anthurium has that, so 1 second. Okay, so this is an anthurium forgetii, and you can see those green roots just growing along inside of there. I am definitely a new anthurium person. They are not something that I've been collecting for a super long time. So these pots just kind of give me that assurance to know what's going on in there, and I can also see if the soil is compacting and just kind of have a better vantage point on what's going on in here. I find it really, really helpful, and obviously the plant is really happy. I get questions about these pots all the time, like all the time, and I have a lot of plants in them. Here I have a monstera in the pot, and they're just really happy, and I would say that it's a great pot for drainage. If you are going to use this pot, I would definitely suggest using a very chunky mix, like the De La Tanks mix would be perfect in this pot. I do have my Anthurium warocqueatum in the De La Tanks mix. As you can see, it's very chunky, and I don't get a lot of soil loss when I water with this because there are a lot of holes in this pot, and so naturally soil and small pieces of soil are going to pop out of the holes. With these pots, very chunky mix. I would recommend the De La Tanks mix. Gonna do a little self plug because it's a wonderful potting mix and I love it, and I created it with a local soil company in Tucson, and if you haven't used it or purchased it, it's always linked down below. Another reason that you might want to use a plastic pot is for when the plant is just getting way too big and it would be way too heavy in a ceramic or terracotta pot. So this big monstera behind me, I mean, I don't know how big it actually looks on camera, but it is really big, and it very quickly outgrew a 12-inch pot. And I knew like that 12-inch pot was terracotta. So I knew that if I was going to repot it, it needed to be like a 14 to 15, 16-inch pot, you know what I mean? So that at that point is a really, really heavy pot, and I don't want to have to carry that around the house to water the plant. And if you're not familiar with the way that I water, I always remove the plant from its spot and water it somewhere where I can really, really rush water through the pot and drain out everything, because I just think that's best, honestly. So I never water my plants where they are in the house. And so carrying around that 12-inch pot after it was full of water was really heavy. And so I can't even imagine how heavy it would have been if it would have been a 14 to 16-inch pot. Like, that is ridiculous. So I wanted to get a plastic pot. Let me show you how big it is. Oh, jeez. Ugh. It is heavy just in a plastic pot. Like, I literally would not have been able to lift it if this was in a ceramic or terracotta pot. Okay, so you can see, it is huge. There's still a little bit of a tag on it. It is absolutely massive. I got this from a local nursery. If you do have a plant that is massive like this one, like it's huge, you probably should plant it in a plastic pot. And of course I went with the Terra Cotta lookalike color because I wanted it to blend in with everything else. And when you get up close, you can tell it's plastic, but from far away, you're not really gonna notice that. No one really has ever said anything, so it blends in pretty well. And just in case there's any confusion on what I meant by nursery pot, this is a plant that is still in its nursery pot. I have actually never repotted this plant. When I bought it over a year ago, and you can see there's just a ton of drainage down there. So these pots right here are kind of very similar to a nursery pot and how they work, but it's just a little bit more visual. I don't know. So nursery pots are usually black or like a terracotta reddish color. Okay, so now I just want to show off some of the pretty pottery in my house because I think that's really fun. And if you are looking for places to buy pottery, you can check out these places down below. I will, of course, link everything down below like I said. Okay, so this pot holds my booby cactus, and it does remind me a bit of a porcelain ceramic terracotta pot. I don't know exactly what their mixture is, but this is from Yum Yum Ceramics, and it is just a lot thinner and a lot lighter than terracotta pots. So that makes me think that it's not like the same kind of terracotta as like this one right here. It's just a little bit different, but it is beautiful. I love this pot a lot. I love the jagged edge. I just think it's so unique. This is another type of pottery, and this type of pottery originates in Mexico. So I got this pot actually from a local nursery in Tucson called Green Things. I have a lot of plants in this pot design because I love it so much. I actually wanted to get a big pot of this design for my saguaro, and I didn't get around to it. So next time I go visit Tucson, that's what I'm gonna be doing. But it's called Talavera pottery, and it is so beautiful. I just love this one specifically because of the white. It got really dark. I love this one specifically because of the white and the terracotta color that comes through. And these pots are glazed all the way through. So they look terracotta, but they're actually glazed on the inside. But as you can see, this string of hearts, which hasn't done anything in a long time, is finally putting out some beautiful growth. You can see like the light green pieces. That's new growth. Okay, this pot I've gotten a few questions on, and this is by the artist Jennifer, I think Salomons. I think that's how you say her name. I will of course have her link down below, but this is hand painted, and you can see it's a beautiful woman design with a crown, and it's just a terracotta pot that has been painted. And this was actually a gift from my mom, so I still need to put something in it. I did have my regale in this pot just kind of like sitting in it over here, but then I needed a pot with like a lip for my little pot clips, so I need something else to put in this one. I'm not sure what I want to do, but there's that. These pots are by Concrete Botanical, and I love her so much. I love her work. She sent me these as a gift, as a housewarming gift, which was so nice. And I have always been a really big fan of her pottery. I have one of her designs. My mame used to live in it, but then my mame got root rot and we're still recovering. So that pot is now empty, but I have these two now, which is really exciting. And I think that I think this one's more of a new design in her collection, but I will have her link down below. Well, I need to stop saying that because I'm gonna have everybody link down below, but these are really beautiful terracotta pots that have been painted and sealed, and I love them. I have nothing but good things to say about this company and this person who runs it. She is a doll. This pot is a cashpo from Anthropology, and when I say cashpo, I just mean that it doesn't have any drainage on the bottom. You could definitely drill in your own drainage if you have a diamond head drill bit and you are adventurous. You could totally do that, but I'm not adventurous, and I just like setting a plant inside of it and using it as a cover pot. So this plant is, potted into a nursery pot, and I just set it on top, and it seems to be pretty happy in it. So that's this one. Okay, so this is a clay-ish pot. This is from Target, from the Hearth and Hand collection, and I think it's really beautiful. It has an attached saucer, so that's really fun. Really not much else to say about it, but it is very cute. This is a really fun pot that I have 3 of, and I love it because it is like partially glazed, and the set, each one kind of looks a little bit different, but you can tell that they are related. They're sisters, they're shaped the same, they have the same color scheme, but they're a little bit different. And then the last pieces of pottery that I want to show you, oh my gosh, there's a bug on my microphone. Okay, the last pieces of pottery that I want to show you are these ones right here. I get a lot of questions about these, and these are made by my friend in Tucson, Joanna Hennigan. She actually has moved on from making these types of designs and has a little bit more of intricate designs now. These are some of her early pots. I have been trying to buy her new pieces, but they sell out before I can get to them. So that's really good for her, really bad for me. A piece of pottery that I just definitely cannot pick up is this long piece right here. This is plastic because these cactus boxes tend to be really heavy, so I wanted it to be as light as possible. But this is a long flower box and I use them to create cactus scenes, and I think it's so fun. They did suffer quite a bit in the move and I'm working on rehabilitating them, but I have another one down here you can see a little bit, and then another one right here, and you're just seeing my moving mess. But yeah, I really love these for cactus and stuff like that. You can get little over the railing things to hang them on if you want to do that, but they work really well just to sit in here. Another pot that I want to show you guys is this pot from Imagelling. I think that's how you say it, Imagelling. I'll have the name on the screen, of course. And I recently unboxed this. She made me this beautiful pot and it has my name on the bottom and her name too. It's really beautiful. And I have a Sansevieria potted in it. You can see there's some damage from the move all over it, but it is looking really good. I did finally find a plant to put in it and it's super happy in there. So a pottery page that was recently introduced to me is Arrow Ceramics, or maybe Arrow Ceramics. I'm probably saying it wrong, I'm so sorry. But I got this really beautiful pot from them and it's so cute. You can see the bottom has that, and it's a more like, definitely like rough clay terracotta pot, and I loved it because it has the saguaro on it. And I got one more pot from Terra Vita. This came in the mail just a few days ago, so I thought that I would pop this in here as well. You can see the drainage hole and also the attached saucer. So this one's really, really beautiful. So if you want to get any of this pottery or you have any questions about pottery in general, I would really suggest that you check the links in the description box below and let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer them. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye! It's suspending itself from a... Can you see that? That's a spider. I'm shook. It just came down. It's making a web on my camera right now. I'm shook.